whatever it takes to protect our civilians and troops. So there you have it. So you wasted another hour of our time, Aziz. Good job.
So why did they bury the body?
Aziz.
Hold on. Aziz, that has not been determined who did that. So let's not speculate. Yes, Jack.
Yeah,
Jack, what do you want to talk about?
This guy's story and his point of view of what happened, he's saying basically they saw a suspicious vehicle, and later they confirmed this was an ambulance with no lights and no emergency signals heading towards them, advancing towards them suspiciously.
October
they fire on this vehicle, right? And which is an ambulance. And then after they review and say, "Oh, we killed this guy. We didn't even know. We're saying actually we killed this guy." But even in their story, they're firing on ambulances, not knowing who's in there. That for all they know, that could be a guy who's just had
because they had no headlights.
They found out afterwards.
I'll be honest with you, Jack. If I was on military patrol and a car, or even an ambulance where I'd expect at least headlights, let alone flashing signals, coming at me driving erratically, which I assume to mean swerving, I'd probably fire on it too, to be completely honest.
Yeah,
and it all depends on the rules of engagement. Daniel, can you discuss the rules of engagement?
To shoot at legs, or to shoot, not to shoot to kill, to shoot at what do you call it, the tires, and so it's and this is not the first time that this has been done, knowing that they would get away with doing what they're doing. That's not something that
it's hard to a car driving fast. A car driving fast, it's hard to run across the.
I'm not going to debate it anymore. We have your perspective. You have our perspective. Let's move on.
There is no use of force has always been centered.
Even the when we see they shot at these people without knowing.
Yeah, but use of force has always been upper center mass for every fucking police department, every military. It's a lethal weapon, and it's a point that where you're the most likely to fucking hit. So there's no shooting at the legs or any of that dumb shit.
No, everyone should have a loan breaking policy, That's not true.
Let's move on.
I think we should move on. We have two different sides. Over time, additional facts will come out, and we'll end up seeing have full faith in the Israeli military. I think it's really hard to hide a conspiracy. Let me just leave it at that.
Not during war, I don't think so. Like, not necessarily a conspiracy theory about people who live
something else to talk about.
During war, I think there are things people do in their battalions that sometimes
find something else.
Okay.
Jack,
I hear you, Jack.
Thank you, Jack. We moved on.
I appreciate your contribution.
Hi, this is the coexistence room. I'm wondering if there's anyone here who can give us a theory of coexistence. Thank you.
What's regular voice? Give us real content. What does somebody else want to bring up a different topic? Let's move on from the erratic ambulance.
Not ambulance. I want to talk to Marsh, a different topic. Marsh, what we observe here is Aziz, you, right? Don't trust the other side, correct? But you are bringing up Armalite, right? I mean, this is like, and then you say 2,000 years. All these are correct.
I never said
it's so difficult. Aziz, you always destroy the future.
Don't talk to him, Dave. Keep going, Dave. Keep going. You said my name. I never said that.
Somebody
should let him talk, and then you can respond, Aziz, okay?
Mas, you see, the whole thing is, if you look from Iran point of view and Turkey, say, this bunch of idiots, Arab destroying Arab arguing among themselves, Arab destroying the future of Arab, and so who is going to benefit? Iran and Turkey. So we should not argue for the sake of argue, but we have to see who is going to benefit, and in fact, because Iran and Turkey is going to benefit and using Arab like a stupid idiot fighting Israeli, and you all should come together and see this is the common enemy. We kill them, then we can find peace. That is the future of coexistence.
You don't think that the Palestinians had a problem with Israel before Iran ended up coming into the picture?
Yes, but Iran is monopolized and opportunistic, and so is Turkey. They both are seeing these are a bunch of idiots. So it has been like this, and they know history repeat, and they make use of it. So just for
If I
clarification,
was worried
Okay.
about Iran,
You wrap it up, dude?
I think I would try to eliminate as much possibility of Iran capitalizing on people's suffering or whatever. That's an incentive for peace, actually, if you're afraid of it.
Sorry, can you repeat that? I didn't follow that.
Making
Probably
peace
me.
with the Palestinians, I'm saying, for the Israeli government should be an incentive because it's one less place for Iran to park them.
So let me ask you an inverted question. As someone from the other side, what do you think Israel should accept? What should Israel's terms be to have a just and lasting peace?
Israel should accept that 51% of the population from river to the sea is not Jewish, and they should accept that what they did was fucked up. What they've been doing is fucked up, and try to make a permanent, long-standing solution that actually provides people with an opportunity in that region. Since they're the regional superpower, and they should care about their own citizens' safety, and their safety relies on peace in the region and peace in their country. So just doing right by their own people and the Palestinians.
I think the Jewish percentage inside of Israel is now about 74%.
Could I reply to Dave? Please, you're killing your own. I just want to reply to Dave. You forgot the fact that, right?
Dave, you had your turn. Let Aziz respond to it.
Yaakov, by the way, is that still from river to the sea on the 51%?
Yeah, I have multiple
annexing,
sources say it's about 73,
Judea and
74%.
Samaria, and we're not annexing your town. So that's not part of the
I'm just talking about a
You guys
basic.
are, you guys are like moving
Yeah, I understand
on
where
the
you're
West
coming
Bank. What the fuck are you talking about?
You're saying
What are you saying, Pepe?
I said you guys are encroaching on the West Bank territories. It's not like you guys
We're not encroaching on it. It's Israel. We're not encroaching on it. We're not encroaching on it.
Well, you guys didn't make a state. You guys screwed up.
This is when you stop talking to an unreasonable person. Like, this guy's
If
not
you're a
reasonable.
reasonable person, when did you
He's
ever
an
own that land?
eighth-generation American.
No, just don't ever own that land.
There's no, but there's Christians. There's Christians that have been there for
They're welcome to be
and
there.
they've stayed there for a couple thousand fucking years. And here you are saying like, oh no, it's
You
illegal.
can't work with two people talking at the same time.
They can stay there.
No, they can't. Not if they're getting their fucking homes taken.
Nobody's taking anybody's homes, Pepe. Nobody.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Mary, you're new to the room. Do you want to chime in?
Look at the Christian population of Bethlehem under Islam. It dropped down to about
Yeah, you think that's because of the Muslims?
That's not because of
that
that's.
was coincidentally happens.
No, they-
You guys love to deflect on
No, but they were. This is where I'll push back because this is there was several surveys or polls done. The main reason they said they had to leave is because of the occupation. Basically, how everything was blocked off. That economically it was making it impossible for them to get by. And in comparison to their Muslim neighbors, it's a lot easier for them for whatever reason to immigrate elsewhere. And so that's what they ended up having to do. It wasn't because of Muslim persecution.
Wait, which country was accepting Bethlehem residents? I don't understand them.
South Door, Chile.
But for whatever reason, I don't know if it's because they already had family elsewhere, but they had opportunities to leave, they ended up taking it. Which does really fucking suck.
Could I just quickly reply to Dave quickly?
But Pepe
Sure.
definitely
So
correct.
we
moved on.
Just quickly.
We moved on.
Okay, let's about 30 seconds, please. Aziz.
Yeah,
I'll keep it short.
Yeah, I'll keep it short.
I'm stuck on this.
it's not being sure. So Dave, obviously, he said
You will never be.
Let him try it. We'll cut him off at 30 seconds.
Try to make some contribution.
Stop the clock.
Try to make a small contribution.
Shut up.
Aziz, try to make a small contribution. Do you
Norm, let him fucking.
Norm, please.
We're listening.
Stop.
We're listening.
What's up with Norm?
Go ahead, Aziz.
Let's hear it. Excruciatingly annoying.
Let's hear it, Aziz. As stupid as you are, you still have the opportunity.
Talking.
This is part of your time.
No,
You're using all your time, Aziz.
Please let him talk.
I'm gonna let him talk.
Thank you. So Dave, you said I said a few things I didn't say, but just to clarify your point, what you're trying to say is like Sunni Turkey and Shia Iran are going to make like some Islamic megazord, and then you have to kind of kill them to have peaceful coexistence. Is that the kind of point that you're
No,
trying to make?
that's not what he's saying. Have you finished?
That's basically what he said.
No, that's not what he said.
Let's let Dave answer.
Thank you.
That's
That was
literally
great.
what he said.
Let's give
That's
him
what I
a
wanted to
minute. Okay, thank you. Very good. Good job.
Thank you, Norby. You could be.
Thank you, Aziz. You did great.
Let's
Mayor,
go.
what were you gonna say? Mayor, were you gonna jump in?
Is Norm the moderator or something?
Let's be quiet.
No.
You wanted to say that
Just a bit.
Yeah, let Daniel respond because that page doesn't make something up.
I already spoke with them about this bullshit survey Christians thinking about occupation. First of all, no, they were prosecuted. I can show you a lot of evidence that basically, yes, people don't like the checkpoints, but the check, it's like people don't like
What you're trying to say is.
search on an airport. The reason is not because of the DSA, it's because of terrorism.
I'm just curious.
Shaq, you put up the skull thing. Do you want to respond to that?
So
It's ridiculous.
Hold on, Pepe.
Because the idea that their population has after any of the Muslims came around, they were part of the terrorist groups. Have you ever heard of George Habash? He wasn't a Muslim. There's plenty of situations that Palestinian Christians resisting against the occupation, and so many surveys.
I would say some, not plenty, but some.
Most of
Yes, we understand there have been other forms of terror, Jack. I don't know what's
Can we
Let him talk. Norm, please.
Dude, so you can talk to them yourselves. They all have a consensus for the most part about this. It's the occupation. It's the same reason even Muslim families leave or change villages. It's literally just the occupation and this bullshit. We lived with Muslims and Jewish people in this land for hundreds of years with relative peace in historic Palestine.
But what happened?
Yeah,
What
but
happened in
it's
Gaza
actually
with the Palestinian population in Gaza?
1 second. Yaakov, don't let him get away with this. The Muslims have subjected the Christians. They made them pay extremely high taxes. They kept all the holy sites in poor poverty. They played the Franciscans against I don't remember.
But today, that's not true, though. The Palestinian Christians and Muslims. Don't interrupt. You let him finish.
No,
Don't let him touch
Norm,
my
Norm, shut up. You already interrupted for the longest time.
Exactly. We have many Christians in.
Maj, can you let him finish and then you can respond?
Yeah, my
I
bad.
mean, to just say they lived in peace, so this is like the story that they say about the Jews also. We were fine with the Jews before the Zionists, as long as they paid a high tax, they get Bibi status, and we got to kill them off once in a while. They did not treat the Christians like that. There were many holy wars between the Christians and the Muslims, and you can hear the animosity even today when they talk to each other, like just to pretend like everything was great before that. It's only the occupation is ahistorical and against current events.
Mayor, can I was gonna respond, but then somebody else. Okay.
Just a quick one, because I made a specific claim about historic Palestine prior to the 1880s when Zionism came around. For Jewish people, go look at how many pogroms were committed in just this specific region over hundreds of years against Jewish people. Your beef in this region wasn't with the Muslims or Christians, it was with the Druze. Those people were fucking you up a lot. And the Lebanese Muslims.
I don't take your point. Your argument was that the Christians lived peacefully with the Muslims for hundreds of years. It's completely untrue. Now that's completely untrue.
But Mayor,
the Christians were molested by the Muslims since the Crusades.
Sure, and that was not was by no means trying to make that point earlier. Now, if we look at whether it's the Armenian Church, the Eastern Orthodox, the Catholics, they've all of these people have come out to, the churches themselves to basically bitch and even condemn the treatment of Palestinian Christians. And when we look at the demographics, it was in the 1950s where you saw there was 80% of Bethlehem was Christian. Now it's 17% or something really low. During these decades, unless I'm missing something, I'm not aware of any Muslim persecution that was driving the Christians out.
The same thing occurred in Gaza. Can't remember the total count. It was 5,000.
The same thing happened in Gaza.
There's only 2,000.
5,000 Christian. No, there was
Why do you look at Lebanon? Look at what Hezbollah did to the Christians in Lebanon and why that country. That was supposed to be.
It's way different than this.
Yes, I agree 100%.
I think we shouldn't use Lebanon though. It is a different country.
All different.
But I think you can look at Gaza. There's, I think, pretty much zero.
I agree with Gaza.
Christians, Palestinians. There was, I think, 5,000. What?
In Gaza, there are
No, there's only a couple thousand. It's real low.
It's very low compared to what it was before when Hamas came into power.
Out of a couple million people, it's
I'll get
super
the
small.
data, Nash. Okay.
But if you look at, the reason why I'm specifically focusing on the Judea and Samaria, because of Bethlehem and Jerusalem, two cities obviously historically tied to Christianity. I understand you guys too, but I mean they did have an overwhelming majority of the population was Christian in the 1950s, and since then that is when it's gone down. And with the surveys, they just said, well, and I can understand if everything's closed off. I mean, it can't be very easy on commerce. I mean, you guys will probably say, well, because of the Muslims and their terrorism, we had to put up security checkpoints to wall them off. Fine, fair enough. But they do claim that it was the restrictions put in place by Israel that made it so that they couldn't get by.
Until the late 90s, by the Second Intifada. Before then, there was open trade between the two.
Yes,
I think actually the economic situation of Bethlehem has actually risen since the quote-unquote occupation. When it was controlled by Jordan, they were kept as second-class citizens. So from 1947 until 2000, the economic situation in the area of Bethlehem has gone up. And it's only after the Second Intifada when they started rolling out buses that all the checkpoints got put in place.
In Gaza, 2005, the best estimate was 5,000 out of 1.5 million, and in 2023 it's down to 1,000.
I was about to say, I thought they said there's only a 1,000 or a couple thousand at most.
Yeah,
I was shocked at how low it was.
I looked up how many pogroms there were against Jews in historic Palestine under the Ottomans, 1517, 1917. There was 2 recorded documented cases.
1929.
No, this is from 1517 to 1917 under the Ottomans.
I think there's not so many. What was your beginning date?
1519.
Yeah, sure. What, Daniel, go for it. Daniel, please go.
Does that sound horrible?
What about this?
I thought you said can I go?
No, I said that, Yaakov. I wanted to touch on the Bethlehem population.
Yeah, sure. Go.
So from what I know is that prior to the 90s, the Palestinian Christian community in Bethlehem comprised of I think something like 70% of the population. But then after the Intifada, that changed, and one of the questions it dwindled down to 20%. And one of the questions is why was that the case? In Bethlehem, the majority of tourism industry was controlled or run by by the Palestinian Christian community. And so with the intifadas, obviously tourism also dwindled and their businesses were greatly impacted. So then they were able to sell, many of them sold their businesses to people from Hebron who are transplants that live in Bethlehem. And so that's just one of the reasons. And that it was also easier for them to get visas to go to countries like Chile, where they also have families there. So I just kind of wanted to put that into context, because that's oftentimes used in propaganda, that it was the Muslims and the relations with the Muslims, when that is far-fetched from reality. But there is truth to it, that there is also discrimination and persecution against Christians in the Middle East, and that's something that we need to put.
Jacob, I just want 30 seconds and then I go. Jack, can you give me 30 seconds, Jack? 30 seconds, Jack. Jack, 30 seconds.
Yes, who's talking?
Me. 30 seconds and then I go.
Sure, Dave.
30 seconds and then you can have your whole night.
Sure.
Okay, so Mas, you care about people in Gaza. The problem is the big picture I'm talking about. When Israel, Turkey and Syria attacking Israel, right? Israel has tried to mobilize 400,000, but they don't get there, right? And Hamas will persuade the people in Gaza. This is our opportunity. Let's redo October 7. Let's do it in a big scale. Let's just overrun those limited Israeli forces along the wall of Gaza. Let's just cross it. Let's redo October 7, because the Israeli force, they don't get up to 400,000. They are busy protecting the eastern front. The western front is completely empty. Hamas is going to persuade you. Let's do it. Doesn't matter how many people we die. Let's do it in a glorious way. Okay, I'm going.
Okay.
Like a drive-by picture.
Did anyone see the protest that happened, and what the outcome was? What Hamas did to some of the organizers by cutting them up and putting them by their families? Did anyone see those articles?
Yes, I did. Plus, they dropped off a guy they tortured. I think the only way you can there's 2.1, 2.2, whatever the number is, millions of people there, and there's 30,000 of them. How do you control the people? It's through fear and intimidation. If a whole mess of people gathered in one place, I think they could overrun them. And you do that by torturing people, kidnapping, torturing, and dropping their bodies off at their families' houses.
One of the Hamas police officers was actually shot and killed by some dissidents.
I saw that. That was like 2 days ago.
Yeah, a couple days ago.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out if there's truly an uprising or it's fantasy of the press.
I don't know about an uprising, but they just want this shit to stop, dude. Just so many people fucking getting killed and destroyed. Yeah.
So it sucks that Mir's not here. I want Daniel's here. Like, you wouldn't agree that because when I say it wasn't because of the Muslims, you could say maybe it was a second hand because they were doing terrorist activities, and that's what why they had to put up the checkpoints. But they are like by and large a innocent casualty in what I would consider their homelands. And they're gone now. There's not like they're gonna go back, and that is, like, to me personally, like, very fucking insulting.
I would suggest that you would try to find some resources that tell you about how they were treated by their immediate neighbor. Except this time, I understand that you saw this survey, but see the incidents that they had to endure.
Well, I mean, this is going to come off as offensive, but I mean, compared to most of you Jews, I mean, they actually can trace their lineage back and never left.
Most of you Jews, come on.
Well,
be respectful here.
I am
be
being respectful. I am.
No, you're not. Most of you Jews is like collectively throwing us under a bus.
Sure, no. Most of the Jewish population that's in Israel, they were not there and have not stayed there for thousands of
And
years.
that's a
But a lot of
different way of
the
expressing
Christians have.
Pepe, that was a different way of expressing it than your first way. Okay? Be respectful.
Hold on. Okay, I wasn't talking about this. I'm talking about the fact that if you're being prosecuted, harassed by your neighbors, that you would leave. It has nothing to do with even nothing that I said about Jews, not Jews. If you would be massacred or being asked to pay taxes or being treated like a second-class citizen, yes, you would leave, but it wasn't because of Israel.
It's cold actually outside.
Were they treated like second-class citizens under Hussein?
I mean, were they doing jizya
Under the Ottomans.
Were they doing jizya in the 1990s?
Hold on, Jack asked a question. Daniel, can you respond to the question?
Talking about any Palestinian government, which one, was it
Most of the Jewish population that's in Israel.
Hold on, I will find you the incidents.
I don't deny there's incidents. Sometimes there's tension between Muslims and Christians in certain neighborhoods, but the idea that they all left because of their Muslim neighbors is, I don't know, any Palestinian Christian who would agree to that.
Yes, some, but the majority not. There are some I've heard, but I don't believe the majority did. I mean, the conditions there are difficult. Anyone for their own future, for the future of their children, would make an educated choice to leave because, unfortunately, the situation on the ground is a hopeless one, and I think the locals. It didn't have to be that way, Madge.
Or was it the Christians?
You guys were talking about the protests earlier in Gaza. That's actually proof of terrorism by Israel, because the definition of terrorism is acts of violence in hopes of political change. So that's actually what they're hoping for. The citizens of Gaza to protest and revolt against their government. That's terrorism. And they starved them for a month before that. They starved them for a month before that and slaughtered them for 17 months.
Wait, you're going to tell me Israel's more terroristic than Hamas? I mean, that's fucking
Yes.
retarded.
Yes.
Oh.
Absolutely.
Let's do a rubric. What's your definition of terrorism? And let's do a checklist. Yes, let's do a rubric. How many babies do you have to kill to be called a terrorist? How many people do you have to starve to be called a terrorist? How many people do you have to blow up to be called a terrorist? How many buildings do you have to blow up to be called a terrorist? Let's do it.
Show me a GoPro camera on an IDF soldier's helmet where he's walking into Gazan homes and shooting, children and adults in the face.
Okay, show me that for the Hamas. Show me them shooting children.
We did on October 7th.
No, show it to me.
Filmed it.
No, you just said it. You didn't show it. You said it. You didn't show it. Show
They
me
literally went to the kibbutz. They literally went to the kibbutz.
Show it to me. I can hear
And they
it.
were laughing while they did it.
Show it to me. I've seen all the
Don't you think
videos.
that's kind of a disingenuous argument? Because do you know the amount of bullshit and sexual harassment and physical assaults, and God knows what else they do in prison to Palestinians, the amount of shit that IOF members do. You want to say one little thing that Palestinians did finally? It doesn't match up. It really doesn't.
Guys, I disagree. A woman that supports rape, I would see it.
As women that divorce rape, you sound idiotic. No one's supporting rape.
You are, but you sound idiotic.
No, I'm not. How many IDF members have raped innocent Palestinians? How many of them have sexually assaulted innocent Palestinians? Have killed multiple?
I don't want to go all into all these bizarre accusations. We're talking about
Is it Retard's Day or what?
relentless
If
bullshit.
it's Retard's Day, you sound like a retard. You literally sound
Maybe
handed.
that's because you are.
No.
Hold on, stop. Everybody, stop. No personal attacks. Everybody, okay? It's not going to happen. No personal attacks, please. No calling people anything. Yeah.
I'm gonna go on people accent. So,
Okay, no one's going to be thrown out of the room. No, you're not, Jack. It's okay there. It's balanced, okay? One's cooked. He's going to abide by Amos's rules. People are going to talk, one mic, then response, then another mic. No one's getting thrown out of the room. They'll only be sent to the audience if they're completely misbehaving. I haven't heard anyone completely misbehaving or violating the laws in the past hours. I think they understood the rules. Everyone agree?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. I think anything you throw at Hamas and say, you're evil because this, Israel, Zionism, Zionists have done to Palestinians before and more.
Hey, okay, you don't trust us and we don't trust you. Big deal. Now what?
That's your response.
It's more than this. It's like
This is the coexistence room, not the put down room.
Yaakov, story like so funny.
I'm sorry, what?
Works. It's like two realities. It's like the problem with coexisting is that we don't even share the same reality. It's like they live in a different reality. Sorry, it's so weird.
Right, it's like two different stories of the same situation. You would think they're talking about a whole different.
I'll tell you what the thing is. Okay, the thing is that many of those keyboard warriors, they try to tell me, for example, about the education system in Israel, or what we see on TV, or what we believe in. So I understand how the propaganda works. But it doesn't work on me. I mean, I actually live in reality. So it's kind of, for me, it's very obvious. I can understand the people that are not from the region, or that only see this conflict through the screen, and be very easily brainwashed into this alternative world of reality, which is completely like propaganda. It's like it's a complete machine of propaganda. Once you see it, you see it.
I got a question.
You know what Hasbara means? Yeah, sure.
Growing up, what was the narrative in school in history class about the state's founding? Like, what did they teach you? How did it unfold? 1947 with 1048, the war.
Like the war of independence. Like there was the vote. We said yes. The Arabs said no. We started there was the partition plan. We created a state on our part. The Arabs basically launched a war against us. Stop me if anything I'm saying that is not history. There was 6 army, many different countries around us, and from internally, it was 6 Arab armies at the same time. This is the 1948 war, and we were why putting a face? It wasn't. So stop me if I was wrong historically at some point.
How many Arab armies did you say?
6. I don't remember the whole list.
Lebanon, Syria, Egypt, Iraq. Under Egyptian rule was Egyptian generals was Saudi Arabia, and Pakistan sent some military advisors.
And Arabs in Israel also.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Okay. I'm just talking about surrounding countries, include people within inside the land.
So out of those, you said 6 or what?
There's here I'll do it with my hand and fingers again. Oh, Jordan, I forgot Jordan. So Lebanon, Syria, Jordan, Iraq, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and advisors from Pakistan. That's 7. 6 main countries.
Would you consider those 6 forces all armies?
The most professional was the Jordanian army, which was underneath the British command, actually, or former British military advisors.
I don't think it really matters. At the end of the day, there was a partition plan. We said yes, we created a state.
Arabs kind of united together to try and eliminate us.
Surrounding. Hold on. The major UN resolution was 181, which said that both the Jewish state and the Arab state needs to create a constitution, create police force, create judiciary systems, create everything for a state, postal service, all these things. Israel did those things. The other side